Good evening. Welcome to Vibin with Ashley Live. I'm your host, Ashley Live, and this is episode 148 of my show. Tonight's guest will be the incredibly talented and beautiful singer, songwriter, and multi-instrumentalist Caroline Reilly. She's performed as a solo artist as well as in rock cover bands all over Georgia. She was also featured on season 17 of NBC's hit show, The Voice Team Gwen. Caroline has also released a new single called Break the World that was released in January. Caroline is in the room and let's get this party started. Hi guys. Happy Saturday evening to you all.
Hey!
Hi. How are you?
Great. How are you, Ashley?
I'm doing well. Thank you for choosing to come back on my show and spending your Saturday with me.
Yeah, I'm super stoked. I'm so excited. It's going to be great.
Yes, and we're definitely going to talk about this new song that came out.
Yes, absolutely. I'm so excited.
Yay! And I know this is kind of like your first time talking about it since the release. So let's just get right into it. What was the inspiration behind the song?
So Break the World for me, this was kind of a different take I've kind of used for writing music. I used an experience I had with a friend of mine, because usually I write about relationships that, you know, just didn't go well, or if there's a specific thing that made me feel a certain way, I'll write about it because, you know, there's always something to write about. But I decided to write about a friend of mine who had a really tough home life. Like, she had emotionally and mentally abusive parents, but she was also like the kindest and most positive friend I had. So for me, I was always just like, wow, like I didn't realize that you could be in such a circumstance but also be such a positive person. And I just always thought that was so beautiful, and I never knew how to like express that feeling properly, like into words. But then for some reason, when I started writing this song, like all the words just came out, and I was like, I think I'm gonna write a song about this. And I did. And when it was finished, I was like, this is one of my favorite songs I've done. And I was just so stoked to get in the studio and kind of start working on it. But yeah, that's kind of what it was about. That's where it's kind of its direction went. And I also wanted to just write this song for people that don't feel heard at home. I wanted to write this song for people that don't feel heard in this world, because it is one of the worst feelings, not being heard. And sometimes the only thing we have is music. And I want to be able to create art that people can listen to and feel like, you know, hey, I'm not alone. I have this. I feel happy in this moment, even if it's just for a moment.
Yeah, that's so powerful. Like, I love that you wrote it. I mean, your friend knows you wrote it for her, right?
Yes, she does.
So when you told her, like, did you tell her at the end, or did you say like, hey, I just want to let you know, like, your story really inspired me? Like, how did that conversation with your friend come up?
Well, I remember I told her, I was like, I actually told her over text. I was like, hey, I just got the scratch track for this new song, and it's actually about you. I said, it's about, and I told her the story about, you know, herself. And she was like, that's crazy that you wrote a song about it. She was like, just super shocked. So I sent it to her, and she was like, I'm going to cry. This is so meaningful. And I was like, yeah. And, you know, sometimes we just need those meaningful moments in our life, whether they happen to us or whether they happen to other people. Because now, the more I'm writing music, the more I'm realizing and appreciating the fact that it's not about me. It's about my fans, my listeners. It's about everybody else. It's not about me. When I play shows, I want to put on a performance for you. I don't want to be like, you know, oh, I want to look super cool and I want to feel this way. I want my listeners to feel safe. I want them to feel happy. I want them to feel like they can express themselves however they'd like at my show. I don't want anybody to feel like they have to, like, you know, they can't be themselves, they can't dance, they can't do this, they can't do that. I want everybody to feel comfortable. And that is exactly what I think about when I'm writing my music. I want people to feel like they can express themselves and feel safe. Yeah,
that's such a beautiful gesture, though, to write this song about your friend, because you were so moved by what she was saying. And no, I feel like there's so many moments in the world when we feel alone in our own life, right? And we turn to music, or we turn to friends. I personally turn to music more than my friends, because I feel like, at least with the music, I can listen to it, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, that artist knows what I'm going through. So thank you so much for just doing this because it's such a powerful thing.
Yeah, it is. I'm sorry, I just put something in the comments to
No, it's all
stream.
good.
But yeah, no, it was such a beautiful thing, and I was just so happy I was able to write about it, you know. I'm just kind of slowly realizing that I want to write about other people. I want to write about these things I'm seeing, because I can't feel every single thing in this world. I don't know what it's like to have a household like that, but I can see, and I can write about what I see, and just kind of feel that experience through somebody else, and just show people what I see, because the song is written like somebody's talking about this person. It's like, she wanted all the world, she. It's like somebody's watching, and that's what it was. I was watching this, and so I wrote a song from my perspective.
Totally. Yeah, and like you said, you're only one person, so you can't experience every single thing that is going to happen to the world. But if somebody tells you a thing, or maybe a friend of a friend says something, and you're like, oh, wow, like, I heard this story and it inspired me, and this is my take on it. And it's just, it's so cool, like, you did it that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was definitely new, but I was very happy I did it, and it made me so happy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So walk us through the creative process when you were actually writing the song, and then when you ended up recording it.
So I wrote Break the World actually in Alaska. I have family in Alaska.
Oh, cool.
So I was actually visiting, and Alaska is like the perfect place to reset. It is like, there's not a ton of people up there. Mm-hmm. It's just, nobody cares if you go to the store with no makeup on or in like pajamas. Like, nobody judges, nobody cares. It's just cold all the time. You know, everybody's just surviving. So, you know, it's a great place to just reset. So I was just kind of not doing anything, just kind of relaxing. And then I picked up my guitar and I wrote this killer melody, because I usually write the melody first. That's how I do it. And I usually do it either on piano or acoustic. So I did it on acoustic guitar, and I wrote it, and I started writing these lyrics because, you know, I was thinking about my friend, and I wrote like a verse, and I hummed a chorus, and I sent it to my producer. My producer's name is Brandon. Him and I are super close, but I sent it to him, just a voice memo, and he said, I love this. He goes, we can play with this a ton in the studio. I can't wait for you to get back. We have to start on this. And I was like, I'm so stoked. So right when I got back from Alaska, I went in the studio and we started on it, and it was crazy. But yeah, my process kind of is more, I write the melodies first. Well, actually, I write the music first. I do the chords first, write the melody. And then once I get like a melody I love, the words flow out, and then I kind of shape what I want with lyrics.
Love that. So beautiful. So then when you guys went in the studio and you did it together, how was that? What was that like?
So I have to say, I love the studio. I love going in. I love it because it's like I have every tool I could ever want to make my song happen. And I'm also getting to work with one of my favorite people in the whole world. Brandon Black is my producer. He works at Creative Villains Studio, which is in Buckhead. It is just a dream to be able to work with him. But yeah, he works on all of my songs. But anyway, we went in and I played it for him on acoustic, and I was like, I know I played this on acoustic, but I want this to be pop punk. We're going to use electric guitars and stuff. I was like, we're not really going to be using acoustic. But so we layered on some scratch vocals, and then I did the guitar and got them where I wanted, and then we programmed some drums. But yeah, the studio is great. I'm just so thankful that I have a great team around me to help me kind of make my songs, the vision of my songs just kind of happen. They're great at just creating my vision and bringing it to life.
Yeah, it's so important about having a good team around you. Like, you bring one idea and then they're like, oh, we think this. And then all of a sudden, like, this masterpiece comes out because you collab together, and you're like, whoa, this is like in a totally different realm than where I originally thought it was going to be. Yeah.
No, I know. It's crazy. It's just beautiful, though. I love it. I love it. And I love to hear people's ideas. I love to hear what everybody has to say, because I mean, I can't come up with every idea in the world. I have my mind and I have my creative take on things, but somebody else has their own too. And it's like, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't, but let's try it. You know what I mean?
Totally. Yeah. And I remember what you said last time when you were on the show about collaboration and how important that is, right? Because it's like, we all tend to bring our own ideas to the table, but then then this person says this, and you're like, and then another person says this, and you're like, okay, let's kind of like go and see where it takes us. Yeah. And then, oh, I never thought of it that way, but let's lean into that.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's a great thing. Well, I mean, I don't know what we would do as a society if we didn't have collaboration. Like, it's important, and you have to kind of have that. Sometimes it's a learning curve, being like, my ideas aren't the only ideas, there are other ideas,
Mm-hmm.
and then, like, let's try it, because sometimes I think sometimes people get in this mindset where it's like, oh, well, somebody said something, but I don't want that, I don't know if I'll like that, I don't want to try it. But the thing is that there's no harm in trying. You can always take it out if you don't like
Totally.
it. You can all just give it a try. Just try it. And I just always keep that in mind with everything, because it's important to incorporate as many ideas as you can and just see what works, see what flows the best.
I totally agree with you. I actually saw a video the other day where someone was like, if someone brings an idea to the table and you're not sure, don't say yes and don't say no, just say maybe. Because you don't know what the situation is until they lay everything out, right? And you're like, because somebody might come to you and say, oh, let's do it like this. And you're like, okay, maybe. And then, like, you see where they're going to go with it. Maybe you listen the first time and you're not into it. Maybe you listen to it the fifth time and you're like, I'm digging it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you shouldn't shut down ideas, because, I mean, I don't know. And even, like, if you say maybe and put it away for a minute, maybe you get so far into the song where you're like, let's try that now that I have a vision of what we're doing. I think that might sound good. Always keep it in the back of your mind.
Yeah. And I think it's so important for creatives to just be open to that possibility, because, like you said, you might have one direction for the song and then the final version, you're like, oh, that's pretty rad.
Absolutely. It sometimes goes in a completely different direction, and that's okay. Like, it doesn't have to be the one idea you had at the beginning. Things change, and that's what's great about having a team around you, because they're always there to say, hey, I like this idea, I don't like this idea, maybe let's try it. You have a lot of people kind of giving their input, and it's nice.
Totally. Talk to us about the importance of having a good team of people around you.
Wow. I can't even tell you. It's like, it feels, as an artist, it feels like you have a little family outside of your family.
Yeah.
It is, and it's important that it feels like that too, because you don't want people you don't feel comfortable with, or you just, you don't know, because these people are working with you in all of your projects. It's important. Like, I have a band that plays for me when I play out. I have a bassist, a guitarist, and a drummer, and they're all amazing, and they're all, like, we're all such great friends, and we have such a great bond. But we also love playing with each other, and they always help me and give their input too when I ask for it, and they're the sweetest people, and they're like family to me, and it's important. And my producer Brandon, he and I are super close, and he's like family to me too, and it's so important, because you just, you can't always, some people don't have parents that are musically talented, or they just don't understand. You can't always have your family as your team, but you definitely want to make sure that these team members feel like family, or else, you're not going to feel like you can be yourself and, make songs to the best of your abilities and be authentically yourself. So it's important to have a team around you, but make sure you're comfortable with them before you invite them as part of the team.
Yeah, like your creative family, because you have your blood family, but then you have a creative family that just, like, you just need to, like, vibe and mesh with and just make sure it all syncs up the same way.
Absolutely. And it's important. I mean, I love all of my team members, and I don't know what I'd do without them. But yeah, it's good to make connections and just be open and always willing to meet new people and try new things. It's just, when you're that way, it makes everything so much easier.
Yeah, and I think it's cool, because, like, maybe somebody reaches out to you from a different genre, right? And they say, hey, I came across your stuff, and, like, I'm a different genre than you, but, like, we should do something. And you're like, yeah, let's do it. And it might, and then a song comes out of it, and you're like, whoa, I never saw my music going that way, but, like, I'm into it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's the great thing. I mean, I've definitely had experiences where I've worked with people that I'm like, it's kind of a different genre, but also a different take on things, and it doesn't even have to be that. Like, if you co-write with people that are in different genres, it's like, I did this genre, you did this, and we kind of did a writing session together, and you can kind of hear in the lyrics their genre, but the style is my genre. It's just, I think it becomes so cool. Like country music is such a storytelling genre. Like all the music is very story oriented, the lyrics. Like it's very like, oh, you know, I did this and I did that. It's very straightforward. Yeah. And then you have rock music, pop, punk music, whatever, which is, you know, very like deep, lots of deep messages. You don't always get a straightforward story, but you know, sometimes when those writers collaborate, it makes something really cool, you know? So it's always be open to everything. Yeah.
I think it's really funny that you said like country and then like kind of like pop punk, because when you were talking, I was thinking of Gwen Stefani and Blake Shelton.
Oh my gosh, exactly. That is a perfect example.
I was like, well, Gwen was your coach.
She was.
And yeah, and then she's with Blake. But think about her solo career and what she did with No Doubt. And then all of a sudden she's working with Blake and she's like singing country and you're like, that's kind of interesting. And then all these people in the country realm are like, oh, that's Gwen Stefani. Oh, she sings country now because she's with Blake. So yeah, that's kind of like, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. I always thought their relationship, when they first got together, which was years ago, I was like, that's odd. Like, that's so weird. Like, because you would have never, ever thought. And I think Gwen Stefani even mentioned in an interview, she was like, I didn't even know who Blake Shelton was. And we were all laughing because, like, And I don't think I think he knew, I don't remember if he said he knew who she was, but I know she didn't know who he was. And it was just funny to me that they ended up getting together. Sometimes it's better that way when you don't know them and you had no idea who they were. And then you meet them. It's like you're meeting them for the first time. And it's really cool because I feel like everybody knows who everybody is, especially in the music industry. But I thought that was so funny that they got together. And they're so cute together. And I love that. It's so cool.
Yeah, and it's so cool because, like, she still has her thing. He still has his thing. But then they, like, perform at these award shows and stuff. And then people who didn't know who Blake Shelton was find out who he is because of Gwen. And people who don't know Gwen in the country realm. It's like, it's really cool when it's like cross genres because then it's kind of like, oh, here are my fans, here are your fans. And like, let's see if they're into this.
Absolutely. That's another reason why collaboration is important. Like,
totally.
If you collaborate with somebody, you're introducing them to your fan base, you know?
Yeah.
I think it's important. It's like, oh, well, I don't know who this guy is, but they're so cool. They sound so good on this song that you did with them, or they sound so good, or they seem so cool in this interview you did with them. I want to go listen to their music. And then you're like helping each other out. I think it's so important that when you get to a place where you're able to do that, to do it. Because it's like, we all understand what it's like. I mean, I'm going through it right now, what it's like to be an indie artist. It's hard. But it's so important that when you do get to a place where you feel comfortable to be like, hey, you know, we should collaborate. I'm going to collaborate with this indie artist and give them a push too. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it's so important with other indie artists, right? Because it's kind of like you have your fan base and then there's all the other indie artists out there. But then when you come together and they're like, oh, yeah, I did the song with Caroline. And then the person's like, yeah, we all work together. And then you tag them. And then their fan base is like, oh, who's this? And then yours is like, who's that person that you just collabed with? Yeah. So I think it's really awesome to like bring people into the genre and into the fan base because I think there's room for all artists to work together.
Oh, absolutely. There's always going to be room for artists everywhere. You know, it seems like such a huge community, I think, when you're an indie artist and you're kind of like, oh, you know, sometimes you get discouraged because it's like, you know, there's just so much and I just feel like I'm this small little thing in this big pond of people or a big ocean of people. But I think you realize that it's not as big as you think, you know. I think you meet people and you realize these people know these people. And then these people also know these people. And you're like, okay, everybody's connected. And you realize that it is big, but everybody knows each other. And, you know, I think it's very beautiful. I think it's really cool how everybody's connected within the industry.
Yeah, it's so awesome. And then you can say, like, this is a story that I had, or, like, this is an experience that I had. And it's so cool because it's kind of like you all can compare and contrast stories and been like, oh, I had such a great time working with this person. Or, oh, just to let you know, you want to maybe look out for that person because, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. No, for sure. I think, too, kind of moving into like my inspirations, like for artists, I know that my little sister, she actually tagged him, but Youngblood is one of my favorite artists. I actually saw him live recently. He's like he's from England. He's a pop punk artist, but he does so many things. Like he does all sorts of genres. He does whatever. But he's such an awesome artist. Like I went to his show recently and I noticed too that just little things, because I'm an artist too. So I try to notice like little things he does. And I like to look at the lighting, like, because artists request their own lighting when they do a show, you know. So I like to see what each artist requested. And Youngblood, I noticed that he requested all the lighting be on the audience, like that, so he could see each and every one of us.
Cool.
And I thought that was so beautiful that he tried to make the show about us and not about him. Like it was about him, but he wanted us to feel special and he wanted us to feel like we were part of the show. And I just thought that was so cool. And again, you know, not everybody would have noticed that, but I just thought it was really, really, really cool that he had all these spotlights on us because he wanted to see all of us and see how we were enjoying it. And I always thought that was so cool. Since then, just kind of thinking about that. But yeah, definitely one of my inspirations is Youngblood for sure. And he's just so, he loves his fans, just like so supportive of everybody. He also wants everybody to feel so comfortable at his concerts and just so comfortable. And I don't know, I just love it. I love it. And I really want people to feel comfortable as well when they're listening to my music and going to my shows.
Definitely. I think it's very interesting that you picked up on like the lights on the audience, because I feel not a lot of people would pick up on something like that. You have to be an artist. You have to be a creative to be like, oh, this is how the lighting is. And of course you perform all the time. So you're going to pick up on these tiny little things that most people wouldn't miss out on.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like, I mean, I always am looking at like equipment they're using. I'm like, what is that amp? What is that? What's that power supply they're using? Because I was like, I need a new one. I like that one. Whatever. I'm always looking at everyone's equipment. I'm always looking at lighting and just because I think it's so cool, because it's cool to sometimes pull from other artists' performance and be like, what can I do better for my show? You know what I mean? Like, not everybody, obviously everybody has their own way of doing their own show, but you know, it's always good to watch other artists and learn from them, or be like, hey, how can I take this and make it my own? You know what I mean?
Totally. Yeah, I think that's so important and so cool that you do that, because you're like, oh, this is how he's standing, or this is how he interacted with the audience, or oh, he's always looking back at his bandmates and that's cool, or maybe he's talking in between songs. Because I mean, I've gone to quite a few concerts and it's really cool to pick up on those little things, or how you can even connect more with your audience.
Absolutely. It's important. It's important to make your audience feel like they're a part of it, because it's hard to make someone feel special in this giant audience of people, you know. But when people go to a concert, when they buy tickets, it's because they want to feel special with this artist. They want to feel like they saw them live and they had this amazing experience. So to go to a concert like that and to feel like I was special in this large group of people was so cool.
Oh, I love that. So I want to talk about your songwriting, because I know you've been in the music industry for quite some time. How do you feel your songwriting has evolved over time?
Wow. That's a good question. I think in the beginning, it was very like, again, straightforward. I was just kind of writing whatever came to my mind, and just finding some sort of catchy melody to go over it and just being like, you know, this works. I think as time has gone, or as time has passed and I've written more, I love to just create poetry kind of the things I'm feeling, you know, because it's like we can all say exactly what we're feeling, but it's like I just want to kind of have this poetic way of saying it. So I always write poetry every now and then of what I'm feeling and be like, how can I incorporate this into my music? Or I'll even ask a friend. I'll be like, hey, you know, what do you think of this? And I try to make little things for people, like when they listen, that they're like, oh, okay, you know, that was really creative. Like, that's exactly how I'm feeling, but you used a really cool way to explain that. So, you know, I always try and kind of write poetry every now and then to incorporate in my music. That's been new for sure, something I've done recently. And I've been writing a lot more on piano. Of course, there's literally not a single piano to be heard in any of my tracks, but I always write in piano, or on piano or on guitar, like acoustic. But again, I don't have those in my tracks. But it's great because when I do an acoustic show or a, you know, whatever, I can transpose that to acoustic guitar and piano because I wrote them on acoustic guitar and piano. And
Totally.
and people love it. I love when people take heavy songs and strip them down to acoustic, because it's like, oh my God, I didn't realize how raw and beautiful this song is.
Yeah.
Because it's all, you know, and it's super cool with guitars and stuff, but when you kind of strip it all down, it's even cooler that they were able to transpose it and make it different, you know?
Yeah, because sometimes when you hear, like, for instance, I'm thinking of, like, Green Day, because I know you love Green Day. So, like, we know what Green Day sounds like. But then when you a Green Day song you played on the piano, you played on acoustic guitar. It's got, like, a whole rawness to it that you're like, oh, wow, like, that hits me a little different.
Yeah, no, it's true. And I think it's like, it really draws people that enjoyed the music.
Right.
It draws them in even more, because it's like, I love this song, but now there's this whole different approach to it with the acoustic guitar or piano. Now it's like stripped down, and I just kind of hear the beauty of the lyrics and the beauty of the melody, and it really draws people in again even more. I think it's so cool. So I kind of love that I wrote it stripped down like that, because now I know exactly what I want to do when I do an acoustic show, which I love doing acoustic shows.
Yeah, I think it's cool to hear an acoustic, but then when you listen to on like an Apple Music or a Spotify, you hear all the production. But then, like, it's cool to have different versions of it, right? Because then when you're acoustic, it's just you and your guitar. It's like, that is cool. It takes it to a whole nother level.
It does. I mean, I've had people, because I've done a lot of acoustic shows, and I've had people be like, where's that song? I want to hear it. And I'll be like, okay, yeah, it's on here. And they're like, oh my gosh, this is so cool with the production. I wouldn't have even thought about this, you know, with the acoustic, or vice versa. Or I'll have somebody at an electric show be like, or sorry, that's heard it on a track, come do an acoustic show and be like, this is so cool that you stripped this all down. And I'm like, yeah, you know, I think it's cool to hear both ways. It gives you a new take on the song, and it helps you enjoy the music in a different way, and kind of, and just it keeps the obsession going with music.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you could do like different interpretations of it, like the heavy production version, the stripped down version on acoustic, or on, and it's just like, it's the same song in different contexts, but then you're like, whoa, that's pretty rad.
For sure. Oh yeah. I think Youngblood, well, not just him, but a lot of artists release unplugged versions of their songs.
Right.
And I love listening to it. It's so cool. I know Alanis Morissette released like a whole acoustic version of her album Jagged Little Pill, and I listen to it all the time. It's so beautiful. I love it.
Yeah, well, Jagged Little Pill, like that album, front to back, like when that album came out, people were like, who is this girl? Like, we love her, we're obsessed with her, and it really put her on the map, and people were like, I identify with everything she's saying, and a woman really never spoke like that before, so, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, she definitely created a path, as did many, but created a path for women in the music industry in the 90s especially. She just did amazing. I mean, that album is fantastic. She made, I believe, Jagged Little Pill the musical recently. Like, they did like a Broadway production of it, which I thought was so cool. I was like, interesting. But it's just crazy because good music, it just keeps going. People remember it forever, and they pass it down. And like, I mean, I listen to 50s music still. I mean, not still, like I was alive then, but like I listen to 50s music, and that music was from a long time ago, and I love it. 60s music is amazing. 70s, I love it. It's just so cool that so long ago they made this music, and today it's still being heard. I always thought that it's like a time capsule. Music is like this time capsule. I just think it's so cool.
Yeah, and I love how much you appreciate older music, because you go back like a long time and you say like, oh, like let's dig into this and this and this and this and this, and then the classic rock genre, when you didn't really know what classic rock was, and then you're like, I don't really know any of these songs, but like I'm gonna learn them, I'm gonna listen to them, and now you're obsessed with classic rock.
Yeah,
you appreciate it. So it's like, it's really cool to, when you have that kind of time and you're like, you know what, I don't really know a lot of bands from the 70s. Let's go back and see what I missed.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, every now and then, even if it's on TikTok or whatever, I'll hear like a song by Fleetwood Mac or something that I've never heard before, like something that just a song of theirs that I've never heard, and I'm like, this is so good, and I've never even heard the song. Like, I love Fleetwood Mac. I've heard a lot of their music, but I haven't heard all their music, and so sometimes somebody will resurface something, and I'm just like, I need to go listen to this right now, go download it, and I'm constantly learning every day. More music, and I love it. I just think that we should all have an open mind to every genre and be open to any art, because you might enjoy something you don't expect.
Totally. And I love what you said about TikTok, because there's a lot of up and coming artists on TikTok, but then sometimes like a song will be trending from like the 70s or 80s, and you're like, I don't know what that song is, I have no idea why it's trending, but let's check it out and see what's going on.
No, it's so funny. It's so funny because I will hear a song that I did with one of my cover bands trending, and I'm like, why is this trending? Like, I don't know, but I'm happy because people now know how awesome this song is. But I'm like, how did this song start trending? I always like wonder who picked the song and who said this is a good idea. Like, I always wonder, but it's so funny.
It's like Dreams with Fleetwood Mac, when that guy was skateboarding, drinking ocean spray, and I watched that video. I was like, first off, I mean, it's just a guy drinking ocean spray, like lip syncing. And then all of a sudden, everyone's like, oh my God, this Fleetwood Mac band, they're so amazing. I'm like, they're amazing. It's just like, it's so crazy how they got put on. And this whole generation of people were like, have no idea who Fleetwood Mac is, but like, I kind of know now because of this guy on TikTok.
Yeah. No, I think TikTok has been such a wonderful platform for artists, I think. Totally. Even super famous artists, like Fleetwood Mac, like, Fleetwood Mac is amazing. I think they're great. But a lot of people today, Gen Z, specifically, probably did not know who Fleetwood Mac was until their music started trending. And again, like a time capsule, it resurfaced, and then people were loving it. And now I know everybody listens to Fleetwood Mac now. When I talk to them, Fleetwood Mac, they're like, oh yeah, I love this song Dreams, and Rhiannon trended for a little bit, which is one of my favorites. But yeah, it's just so cool. I love to see old music resurface, and I love to see other indie artists get successful through TikTok as well. It's so refreshing, and it's so cool.
Yeah, and the indie artists too, because sometimes you see songs are going viral and you're like, who is this? Like, I don't know who that is, but I want to know what's going on, because I'm like, this person in 2 weeks, might be a superstar.
Exactly. And it's crazy because on TikTok, you never know, right? It's like, but if you don't try, you're going to lose. You should always be putting out content and trying and sharing your music with people as much as you can. I think at the end of the day, it's not about getting like X amount of views. It's about sharing your art with the world. At least for me, everybody's different. But for me, I want people to either be like, I love this art you put out, or, or not. I love to release music and be like, this is how I was feeling at this time. This is why I wrote this, and I want to release my art and see if people like it or not, but the amount of listens it gets, it doesn't really faze me. I'm just so excited to make finish a project like that and put it out to the world and let people hear it for the first time. Because I mean, if it just gets 1,000 listens on Spotify, that's a lot of people. Like, I was so happy if 1,000 people came to my show. Like, it's so cool. But anyway, it's amazing. I love TikTok. I love these platforms that have kind of helped artists and older artists. It's so cool to me.
Yeah. And I like what you said about putting out content, because it's like, and then you think about it and it's like a time capsule, right? Like, okay, where were you in May 2020? And you're like, I don't know. Let's go back on my TikTok and see what was going on. And you're like, yeah, I was just like in my room practicing the song, and boom, I put this content out. So it's kind of like I know you probably keep a journal, right? Like a journal, like diary, right? But then it's like the video journal of it all. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is. And then I think with artistry, sometimes artists tend to change their look, or they're like, oh, this is a phase where I'm going through this, or like with this album, I'm trying to go this direction. So it's kind of cool to see the evolution of your artistry in like on Instagram or TikTok or something like that. You know what I mean?
I do. I do. In fact, for all of my releases on Pinterest, I have a Pinterest board for every release because it's important to have one because you need to know what vibe you're going for content to post. Like if you're going for like a reddish vibe and you want to do like a photo shoot, you're like, hey, I want this reddish vibe.
Totally.
Or whatever. Like I have a Pinterest board for every song I've done, and I'm like, this is kind of the vibe I want to go for this song. This is the vibe for this song. And I give it to my photographer, or my videographer, or whatever, or myself when I'm filming videos. And I'm like, this is what we need to be doing for this release. And
Right.
I think it's so great to, make sure that you have that inspiration packed away for everything to make sure everyone's on the same page.
Yes, and I love what you said about like a vision board for each song because I think that's really important. Like when I look at your content, I see a lot of like red, like just fun punk kind of like vibes. So I guess talk to me about the importance of branding as a musician.
Oh, wow. It's definitely a journey. It's branding is a journey because you have to figure out what works for you. Because if it's not yourself, like if you don't feel like it's a bigger version of you, it's it's kind of tough to be that person that like that person on stage. For me it was like I felt like red just suited my personality, and I was like, Mom, you gotta do it red. I just feel like I'm red. I feel like a pomegranate of a person, I want this pinkish red. And so we had this pinkish red first, which was very pomegranate. And I was like, this is good. And then we kind of gave it more of this bold red color. But, and I just feel like it suits my personality. I've always loved the red. What else? My style, I've always loved it. I mean, it was never a style where I was like, oh, well, this is just what matches my hair, so I might as well go for it. I love the way I dress. I always thrift shop for clothes. I pick all of my own clothes. My mom and I will go thrift shopping. I'll be like, this is cute. This is cute. I want to do this for a show. I can't tell you how many clothes I have in my room that I do not wear for any occasion other than shows. Like I have this whole section of just show clothes.
Right.
And it takes up so much space, but it's like when I do a show, I want to wear it. So it's like,
Totally. But
it's so cool. But branding's important, but you also need to make sure that you're branding yourself in a way that is being, is just like a bigger version of yourself,
Yeah.
I feel like my look I've created is just Caroline, but on steroids. Like, I feel like this is just like crazy Caroline. This is who I am. But you can see it on the outside as well as on the inside.
Yeah. And I think it's really cool for an artist to brand themselves because I'm sure that other musicians and you're like, what is your vibe? Like, I don't know where I'm going with you. It's all different kinds of things, but I feel like the vibe for you has always been like red, punk rock, like confidence, empowerment. And I love that that's what you radiate. I think that's so cool.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, it's important. I think you're right. Branding is important. You need to know people's vibe and kind of what they're for. And I have always kind of had this look, but then you get to the point where it's like, well, you've branded yourself, but what do you stand for? What are you about? Who are you? Yeah. And then that's when the music and what you're writing about comes in, and then like what you're sharing with social media. You have to be a little vulnerable sometimes and just be like, hey, I'm not this super cool, perfect person. I mean, I'm insecure. I have these issues. I'm dealing with body dysmorphia. I'm dealing with I don't feel like I look the best today. I don't feel, whatever. We all deal with it every day. And I think social media tricks us a lot into thinking that these people have these perfect lives. Yeah. And I mean, I understand. I post photos of me just, smiling or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, this is my photo for today. But, it's not like that. We all go through things. And I feel like it's important to share that too with people, to let them know they're not alone. Yeah. Because I mean, I don't always feel comfortable, or not comfortable, but like comforted by seeing celebrities that, are perfect all the time. Because I'm like, I should look this way. I should be this way. It's not about that. I think you should be yourself and be comfortable and let people know that it's okay to be yourself and be comfortable. And that, people I think are going to love that more and resonate. And that's going to resonate with them more than just saying, you're perfect all the time, because it's not true.
Yeah. I think it's like with like an Instagram, right? Everybody wants to post like the best things on Instagram. I think people are much more on TikTok. Like, I'm sure you see things on TikTok And I think like TikTok's a little bit more raw and people are willing to post like the truth. Where Instagram is kind of like, oh, let's just post a photo. Where TikTok, it's like, hey, you know what? I lost my car keys today and I was like pissed and I was crying. And like someone say that on TikTok versus like Instagram is like not the platform for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I love going on TikTok and seeing people talking about like body positivity and just their struggles every day. It's really, it's not, I hate to say nice because it's not nice, but it's like nice to see that other people are feeling the way you feel, because it's like nothing is worse than feeling like nobody gets it, because sometimes people don't get it that are in your life, like your friend doesn't get it, your mom doesn't get it, your brother doesn't get it, your sister. But when you go on TikTok and you see all these other people that do get it, it's so like comforting, and I love it. That's why another reason I think TikTok's a great platform.
Yeah, TikTok has like totally taken over just everything, because there's so many crazy things. Like I'll go on TikTok and I'll scroll and I'm like, wait, why is this popping up? Like, why do they think that I'd be into this? Like, so like maybe you see this, that like sometimes I get these FYPs, which is like the For You page for people that are not familiar with TikTok. But it'll be like people pulling cards. Like they'll be like, oh, this card is for health and this card's for wealth. And I'm like, I don't know. I just tend to see a lot of that on my page. So I don't know why.
It is so funny. Like I will get stuff on my page and I'm like, what? Like I think there was a trend on TikTok of like people eating bugs, and like they were like showing up on my For You page, and I was like, what is happening? And I was just, it's always so confusing, but it's so funny too. It's just like, how did you get here? How did you get to my For You page?
Yeah. It's like, I don't want to see people eating bugs all the time when I'm on TikTok. That's like not a good time, because it's like
yeah, no, and then I swipe and I'm just like, please go away, or I have to click like the disinterested button, or like what. It's so funny. I love it though. I love TikTok.
So in 2019, you were on season 17 of The Voice, which is crazy because 2019 probably feels like a very long time for you, yeah?
It does. It feels like it was so long ago, but it technically was not. So yeah.
But you know, with this whole pandemic, it's like, how long has this pandemic been going on? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So looking back on your time on The Voice, what did you enjoy most about the experience?
Oh gosh, I think the networking was probably my favorite, or just like, I mean, I still talk to a lot of people I was on the show with today. And I think, I mean, I don't know what I'd do if I hadn't met some of those amazing artists, because we're all doing the same thing. And it's good to be like, hey, you know, I'm struggling with this, or hey, I'm struggling with this. How are you coping with this? Or how are, you know, and it just makes it so refreshing. And it's like to know that other people are going through it that you can talk to, you know? And that was one of the most important things, was the relationships I made during that time. But also, you know, getting the experience to work with the coaches was really cool, because now I know what it's like. I know that these celebrities deal with stage fright. They deal with this, they deal with that, things that we deal with every day. And it was just so cool to kind of get their input. So just the whole networking piece of it was just amazing. And it still is one of the most memorable things from the whole experience today.
Yeah, and I know that The Voice, when you're on a show like that, it's like family. And the cool thing about it is people from other seasons reach out to you, and you reach out to them, and it's like this whole, like, we weren't on the same season together, but like I still rock with you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure. Yeah, like the season after mine, there were these two rock contestants. It was a woman and a man, and they did like an awesome duet. And I loved it. I forgot what it was because I watched it so long ago, but I loved it, and I went and followed them on Instagram, and they followed me back, and I was fangirling, but then I was like, wait, I was on The Voice too. They probably saw I was also on The Voice. And so yeah, I followed. So then I started liking their posts, and they liked mine, and we're all just kind of connected in that way. It's like a big family. It really, really is.
Mm-hmm. And you guys are also supportive of each other, because you're all in the music business, and you can all like collab together and just like, yeah, you're right. Like say, oh, hey, I'm writing this song. Like, can I just get your feedback on this? Because like, I just need to talk to someone who's creative.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's like you said, it's like crazy how these people pop up as well. Like they'll just
Yeah.
like from The Voice, you'll like, you'll be like, oh my gosh, hey, I was on The Voice, and they're like, oh, so was I. And you're like, what? Like for instance, I went to go see the band Seven Dust, which they're like a heavy metal band, but I saw them
Seven
with
Dust.
Yes, love
Seven Dust. They're amazing.
Yes, so good. And they're local to Atlanta, so they came to Atlanta.
Yes.
And I went to go see them in this band called Plush, which they're also a heavier band, and they're all girls. They were playing, and I was like, this is sick, you know, that they're all girls doing this music. It's so cool. But anyway, the lead singer was crazy. I was like, oh my gosh, she's so good. And then my friend's mom was like, yeah, she was on The Voice like a few seasons ago. And I was like, what? So I looked her up, and she was, and she killed too. I think her name was Mariah Formica, or
yeah, Mariah was on The Voice.
Yeah, she was so good.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
She's the lead singer of that band, and I saw them perform, and I was like, this is sick. And I went and connected with her, and I messaged her, and I was like, hey, I just want to let you know that you're awesome. I was also on The Voice, and I saw your audition, and I saw you play tonight, and it's just, you're so amazing. And she responded, and she was super nice about it, and it was just so cool, because it is, again, like a big family, and we're all kind of seeing each other in different ways, and everybody pops up in these weird places, but it's just so cool. It was awesome to have that experience.
Totally. So what's a song that you wanted to sing on The Voice, but you didn't get the opportunity to sing?
Ooh, that's a good question. I mean, probably like any of my, oh, you know what? Never mind. I'm trying to think. That's a really good question. Probably maybe some heavier rock stuff. I really wanted to sing Led Zeppelin. I wanted to kind of get more into like the powerhouse area of my voice, and I really didn't get to do that on The Voice. I was I did a Jefferson Airplane song for my audition, which was okay, but it wasn't like really in that powerhouse area. And then we were assigned a Pink song, which was not in the powerhouse area either, because it was kind of early Pink music, and that was kind of stayed in this bottom area. Yeah. So if I had to choose a song, it'd probably be like Rock and Roll by Led Zeppelin. Because that one's really powerful, and I love to sing that one. Yeah.
I love that you said a Led Zeppelin song, because I feel like I don't hear a lot of Led Zeppelin on The Voice.
Yeah, no, not at all, for sure.
Which is crazy, because I'm like, they're so amazing. Like, I'd love to hear people cover Led Zeppelin more.
Oh my God, me too. I think it's like, it's one of those bands too where there's so much going on instrumentally, and then when I hear somebody do like a stripped down version of something they've done, it's like it's so cool. It hits all like those bright spots in the ears, and you're just like, oh, that's so good. But you know, I love hearing so many different versions of Led Zeppelin, just because their stuff is so powerful, and their lyrics are so deep, and you don't even realize it, because it's like they're screaming kind of, and like, wow, but then you like look the lyrics up, and you're like, oh my God, these are really poetic.
Totally.
Yeah.
Like when you actually like look up the lyrics, and you're like, ooh, that's like, that hits a little different for me.
Exactly. Yeah. Led Zeppelin is a perfect example of writers that really have poetic lyrics, but you don't really notice it because there's so much going on, but their lyrics are beautiful.
So going back to your time on The Voice, you were on Team Gwen. If you could sing a duet with Gwen Stefani, what song would it be, and why?
Probably, I mean, I know this is a bit of a cliche. I probably would be one of her songs I would want to do with her, just because I know she's comfortable singing it, and I know I would be comfortable singing it because I love her music, and I just kind of love where a lot of her songs sit vocally. But Don't Speak is one of my favorites, of course. I love that song. I would probably choose that one just because of the relationship issues she was having, kind of behind the meaning behind the song is kind of cool, and kind of is what I'm writing a lot about now. So I would probably choose that one. Yeah.
And I think sometimes when you're in relationships, you know, the ups and downs of relationships, if you will, there's a lot of good music that came out of these relationships that people have.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's crazy because I have so many artists that are like, you want to write good music, have somebody break your heart. And I'm like,
right.
That's so true. So
It
true.
is. I mean, it's so difficult when you go through it, but like, look at all this beautiful music that came out of that crazy time.
Yeah, no, for sure. Because my first single, Meant to Be, which I released last year, at like the end of last year, that one was about my ex. Like, that one was just the end of my relationship. And I feel like when you write that song, it's kind of like the official end. It's kind of like when you give all your stuff back to your ex and you're like,
Yeah.
here you go, this is all your stuff. I feel like for me, it's like when you write that song, that's kind of like the equivalent for me. It's like once you write the song and it's done and it's finished and produced, I'm like, okay, I can move on now. I'm finished with that
Right.
chapter. So that's how I feel with writing songs about relationships. I feel like it's that kind of closure. And you can kind of be like, I feel happy with this. You know, I mourned the loss. I wrote about it. I'm good.
Yeah. I love what you said about closure, because sometimes you never get closure in relationships because sometimes the person just ups and disappears.
Yeah.
Or maybe you up and disappear. But I think it's really cool as an artist when you write a song about that and you pour your heart into it and then you sing it and you release it and you're like, oh, I'm feeling like I'm still in that relationship. But then you're right. It's kind of just like that cleansing and closure of the relationship.
Yeah, it really is. It's like, because again, writing is such a vulnerable process. And I feel like when you have that, once you've poured everything out and you've poured your heart, like, I feel good now. I feel like I'm not a big crier. Like, and some people are like, you feel better when you cry, but I'm not a big crier. So for me, it's like once I write a song where I've spilt everything out, that's my crying for me. So like, I feel better now that I've gotten all this out and it's in a song and it's done and it's art and I've released it and it's over and I can move on and be happy with this. And then I think too, when you finish art like that and you've moved on, you can look back and be like, you know what, I appreciate the heartbreak. I appreciate that I went through that. It reminds me that we as humans feel such complex emotions. Because we do. Like, I can't think of a more complex emotion than the amount of emotions you're feeling during a breakup. It's like you miss them, but you can't have them. You're mourning the loss of somebody that doesn't exist anymore. Like, the person they are at the end of your relationship is not the person they were at the beginning. So you're mourning this person that no longer exists. You are jealous because you think they're going to be with somebody else that might be better than you or whatever. It's so many emotions that are intense and devastating. And yet, as humans, we are capable of feeling them all and surviving, you know, and getting over it and moving on. And I think that is so beautiful. And that's why when people go through things like that, I'm not kind of the friend to be like, oh, you know, but you should move on. Let's get over it and let's go out and hang out. You know, let's kind of jump back from this. I'm not that kind of friend. I'm like, you need to be able to feel this and mourn this and have time for yourself, because this is a lot to go through for a human, like for a person. This is a lot. And so I want people to feel like they can express themselves and feel the pain they're feeling, because it's important. And I feel like we don't take that into consideration a lot of the time. We're kind of like, oh, well, let's keep going. But I think, you know, sometimes we need that time, you know?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's really important what you just said about feeling the pain, because, right, I feel like sometimes, whether it's a breakup or you lost a job or whatever happens, but you had like some crazy thing happen to you, people are like, no, stop and like smile and like just get through it. And you're like, no, if you need to cry, if you need to like eat Ben and Jerry's, if you need to like just take some time for yourself to like however you need to decompress and feel it. Some people cry a lot. Some people are like in bed for like 3 months. And if you need to do that, cool. But like, I think it's really cool as a creative when you can actually like release it through a song. Because I feel it's a healthy way to deal with it. Whereas most people, when they deal with a breakup, they're just like not dealing with it in the best way for them, if you know what I mean. Yeah,
no, I do. I'm very thankful, again, being an artist and being somebody that writes music, that I have that there for me, that I can always go to my piano, go to my guitar and be like, look, I need to write this down. I need to get this out because I don't want to talk about it to anybody. And that's another thing too. It's like you're your own therapist. You're your own best friend. And it does actually feel though like you're talking to somebody else, because you're writing it down and you're getting it out and it's leaving your mind and going somewhere else. And I think that's so cool. And I can't think of anything more therapeutic, honestly, than writing about it. It's become such an amazing thing for me. And you know, I think other artists would agree, and I think it's amazing.
Yeah, that's the coolest thing about music, is because it's so therapeutic for the artist, but then as fans, we're just like, oh my gosh, I felt that. Like, I've been through that as well.
Absolutely. I agree. Yeah.
Well, that's all the questions I have for you this evening, but you're going to perform for us.
Yes, I am going to perform. I have 2 originals for everybody today. Awesome. So I'm going to grab this and I'm going to sit. There we go. Sorry, I didn't mean to announce each thing I was doing.
All good.
All right. This first one is Meant to Be, which is my first single I released like last year. I'm going to tilt this so you can see a little more. All right. Leaving is hard to do, but I knew we wouldn't make it through. I knew it wasn't right to stay. When I was bleeding out, trying my best not to make a sound, so you would think that I'm okay. I know that I will be replaced. I know that I will be replaced. Looking back, I wish I'd seen all the ways that you hurt me. I'm feeling so alone tonight. Even at 17, we had the world at our feet. You didn't want the world with me. Falling out of touch, it'd be a lie to say I wasn't crushed. I never wanted things to change, but now it's hard for me to sing about these broken memories. It's hard to go on without you. And after all that we've been through, find another someone to lie to. Looking back, I wish I'd seen all the ways that you hurt me. I'm feeling so alone tonight. Even at 17, we had the world at our feet. You didn't want that world with me. Looking back, I wish I'd seen all the ways that you hurt me. I'm feeling so alone tonight. Even at 17, we had the world at our feet. You didn't want the world with me. You didn't want the world with me. Even though we weren't meant to be.
Yes! Guys, give it up! I just want to read the comments. I don't want to butcher your name. I think it's Ayushi. Ayushi Music says such powerful. Did I say her name right?
Yeah, she's a really good friend. Thank you so much, Ayushi. I love you.
She also said something earlier. She goes, miss you, Caroline.
Oh, I miss you too. We need to collab. She's another musician. I love her.
Awesome. Tom says, beautiful. Bravo. Yes, that was beautiful. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you so much. All right. This next one, I'm going to do Break the World, but I'm going to do it live on here because why not? And I hope you guys enjoy. And you can stream this. Again, it's on all streaming platforms right now. All right. She always looked up to the sky and watched the day turn into night. It's like they couldn't see her. She wondered when she'd get the chance to finally make him understand she won't be here forever. 'Cause he don't know how to stay. And even through all the blood, she'll still say, I'll give you everything. Come on, let's break the world. As if the world could break again. Now could one girl even know that when he says he wants to love you, it just means he can't decide. When he says you're going crazy, he wants to make you think he's right. How could she know? No. She wanted all the world to see her endless love through suffering. The picture's so much bigger. He couldn't stand their little schemes. He lost his mind, told her to leave. Her mind and soul felt shattered. 'Cause he don't know how to stay. And even through all the blood, she'll still say, I'll give you everything. Come on, let's break the world. As if the world could break again. Now could one girl even know that when he says he wants to love you, it just means he can't decide. When he says you're going crazy, he wants to make you think he's right. How could she know? No. Maybe she just thought she could be everything he wanted to see. All the times he promised that he'd never leave. Guess he felt okay to ruin everything. How could she say she gave you everything? Come on, let's break the world. As if the world could break again. Now could one girl even know that when he says he wants to love you, it just means he can't decide. When he says you're going crazy, he wants to make you think he's right. How could she know?
Yes!
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. That was Break the World, guys. It's pinned below. Stream it on all streaming platforms. Share it with your friends. Add it to your playlist. What else am I forgetting?
Music video coming out soon.
Yes, the music video's coming out soon.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So tell us about what's happening in the next couple months. What's up next for you other than the music video?
So I'm working on a song right now that is going to be out probably in April, but you definitely heard it here first. I haven't announced that yet, but yeah, there's going to be another one coming out in April, so that's exciting.
Yes, well, you're definitely going to have to come back on and share that with us.
Yes, of course. I'm so excited. I can't wait.
Yes. I just want to read a couple of these comments. Tom says, fantastic. Thank you. Kristen Nicole says, love that song. So beautiful. Ayushi says, a very catchy chorus. It sure is.
Thank you guys so much.
For the beautiful people watching right now, how can they support you in your musical journey?
Oh my gosh. Just, if you want to listen to the song, go stream it. That would be great. And just, give a follow on social media on Spotify. Follows on Spotify are always great. Just stay tuned and just follow me and just wait to see what's next because I have a lot of awesome projects coming up for you guys.
Yay! Do you have some time for a couple quick questions from the audience?
Yes, of course.
Beautiful. So guys, if you're in this chat right now and you have questions, feel free to put them in the comment section below.
Yes.
What is it like being a woman in the rock industry?
It is really, I kind of like amazing. I know that's like, I have a better explanation, but like amazing is like the first word that comes to my mind, because it's like when I think of being a woman in the music industry, especially in like more of the rock area, whether, I mean, it doesn't really matter, pop, rock, whatever. It's like there are so many female artists from the past that had to break that in for us, for the artists that are women today, because it was not easy. I mean, like I did watch a Joan Jett documentary. I think I mentioned this last time, but I did watch a Joan Jett documentary about how she had shows where people would just like heckle her, and it was just horrible. They would throw things at her on stage because she was a woman doing heavy music. And it was just like, it was not okay. It was, and these women went through that for us, for this next group of women now. And I think that is just so beautiful. And to be a woman doing this and kind of following in those footsteps in a way, and kind of like creating my own path and looking back at those women, it's just so cool. And I'm honored that I get to do this. So yeah.
Yes. And kudos to all those beautiful women rocker who came before us, because the thing is, like you said, if it wasn't for Joan Jett, if it wasn't for Janis Joplin, if it wasn't for all these incredible women in rock that paved the way and took a lot of criticism from people when it wasn't common to be, you know, a rock star back then, like kudos to them for paving a way and just allowing women to live, you know, in their truth and really sharing their honesty and through their music.
Absolutely. I agree completely. It's amazing. And yeah, just to be in that same area, it's an honor. And I'm just so happy that I get to do this at all. And it makes me so happy that, you know, I get to write music and be a woman, and people can be like, hey, you know, she's a girl and she's doing this music. I can do it too, you know?
Totally. Girl power.
Of course. Always.
What does success mean to you?
Oh my gosh. Success for me, it would be me releasing like basically all my music, and just people messaging me, because they've done it before, and I can't tell you how amazing it makes me feel. But like having music released and having people message me being like, this song helped me get through this song helped me get through that, and just thank you, you know, or whatever. I get such sweet messages every now and then, and it just, I can't tell you how much I appreciate it, because like these people are thanking me. I'm like, why are you thanking me? Like, this is just art, and I wanted, you know, I released this just for anybody to hear it, and the fact that you heard it and it made you feel this way and helped you through something, that is the real honor. Like, thank you, you know what I mean? And for me, success would be being able to release my music and people really just enjoying it, in the sense that it helps them feel, you know, and it helps them get through things. And I guess just, you know, being able to play shows too. I love connecting with my audience through shows, and being able to do that forever. And just being able to do this forever. That's success to me, in whatever capacity I can do it. It's, this is just my whole life, and I can't imagine doing anything else.
Yeah. Live music is so powerful. And it's like, I know what you mean when you're like, I love being and performing in a venue, because I feel like fans like us who just love the music, like the energy in there, and like the fact that we're singing along to these songs and we get to talk to you afterwards. And it's just like this whole thing of energy and unity that it's like, it's so electrifying.
It is. I agree. And I think it's just important too, when I do shows, like, you know, I've seen, but it's always been important to me to make the show about the audience and make them feel like this is an experience that they're included in, you know? So for sure, I just love it. I love performing. I think success for me would just be being able to do this for the rest of my life, and whatever that means, you know, whatever other situation has to come along with that, I'm okay with it, because this is everything for me. So yeah.
Oh, that's so wonderful. Beautifully said.
Thank you.
So any final words for the room?
Just keep being yourselves. don't worry. I mean, that's easier said than done, but don't worry what people are thinking, because people are going to judge you either way. Whether you're doing one thing, they're going to say, oh, why is she doing that? If you do the other thing, they're like, oh, I can't believe she did that. Or he did that. Be yourself. Just do it. You know, people are going to judge you. So no matter what, be yourself. Do what makes you happy. I guess that's my final word. Yeah.
Do what makes you happy is so important, because what makes you happy and what makes that person happy, it's different. So like, just lean into your truth and honesty and do what feels good.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming back on the show and talking about your music. And the new single, Break the World, is available on all streaming platforms. Guys, if you don't already, please make sure to add this song to your playlist, stream it, share it with your friends. Caroline has more music coming soon. And like I said, make sure to give her a follow. And guys, if you're new here, I'm Ashley Live. This is Vibin with Ashley Live. And if you love good music, please support good music. Buy artist merch. Support them in their live music journey. Please, please, please continue to support live music by following my girl Caroline and following me, Ashley Live. Thanks so much, guys, for spending your evening with us. Stay safe, be kind, and be yourself.
Yes.
Bye. Have a great night.